and make sure our sound's coming through properly so that we can go ahead and get started. Okay, excellent. So I hear that sound is clear and awesome. Okay, so of course we have the Skype chat running in conjunction with this now. And what that's for is if you want to ask some questions in real time, then I can get to those right away because I can see those notifications. In addition to that, we'll actually be incorporating the live verbal chat here within a couple days. I just have to bring the rest of the switcher equipment here because it's what handles all the sounds and allows us to pipe sound in from other sources. So I'm going to be doing that in just a couple of days as soon as I can get that stuff in the living room. But of course, today is, again, the second half of what we started today, which of course is the virtual cleanse. We have people that are on day one. I'm on day one also. It's of the pre-cleanse, and then we have also people who started the pre-cleanse already 3 days ago, so they're on day 4. So we're going to be giving instructions for both of those stages. Also, it's important now for us to see exactly what we need to be doing. Like I'm going to bring up some stuff that you're going to have to do while you're participating in the cleanse. One of those is definitely getting 6 to 8 glasses of water per day. So make sure that you're getting that in your system now. It's very important because you don't want your system to lock up with the toxins. In addition to that, of course, with the pre-cleanse, which is the first 3 days, you're going to be backing down your food intake. On that first day, which was today, you're supposed to take it down at least 3/4. So the things to avoid as far as foods are concerned are definitely fried foods, definitely foods with high sugars, artificial sugars, soft drinks, dairy, meats, those kind of very heavy foods you really want to incorporate out of the diet altogether. But especially during the cleanse, you want to not take in a lot of high salt, high sugar foods. So in order to get some food in your system, though, because some people may say, well, wait a minute, that's pretty much my whole diet, so what do I eat? I actually did put a list of foods to eat, and I'm going to read off on that list. But that list itself was on the post, everything you need to know for the virtual cleanse. And hold on real quick. Let me see if this is working today by chance. Yeah, okay, so the text thing is working again. So let me go ahead and drop that link in there now. Everything you need to know about the virtual cleanse. And of course, in that link, you'll find all of the listings of different foods that you can utilize to back down your food intake. And of course, some of those foods are going to be salads, definitely, avocados. Basically, what I use a general rule of thumb, because what happens is that you can kind of visualize what food's going to be like in the stomach before you even eat it, like how it's going to really look in the stomach if the stomach's going to have a lot of time digesting and separating things. And generally, fried, spicy foods, foods that have a lot of seasonings, especially if those seasonings are not configured properly, are going to get you into the heavy digestion and also the heartburn and acid indigestion, etc. So you're looking at basically clear, clean foods now, especially like let's say your brown rice, let's say your avocados. For those that may still need that meat component, you may want to switch over to something like egg whites, which are 100% assimilable to the body. You definitely want to look into getting some of your grains in, mainly quinoa. I think there's some of that over here. Let me go grab it. Everyone's pretty much familiar with quinoa, but you may want to swap out even your oatmeal with the quinoa because, the oatmeal is a heavier grain, and a lot of times if you don't get a really good quality oatmeal, then it could also slow down your digestive system. But again, all this stuff, like you can get the oatmeal in the system, you can get, as far as for the smoothies, your grapeseed powder, your spirulina, your hemp protein. And someone did ask questions earlier about the chlorophyll. And in the pre-cleanse, of course, you can definitely take advantage of the chlorophyll. During the cleansing portion, you want to really keep your system clear if you want to take advantage of the best options. So just to be very brief with this as far as day one, because it's going to really be tomorrow that we get into doing a lot of the experiments, a lot of the crystal meditation, and a lot of the different whole body breathing courses and things of that nature that we're going to be doing. And we'll be actually talking, someone asked a question right now if we're going to talk about salt. Definitely, I actually have some different samples of salt here, from Himalayan salt to regular Morton salt. So we're going to get into that and exactly how that affects your body. But that's not going to be tonight, because we don't want to cram everything into one show like I generally do with AstroQuest. So as far as those that are on day one of the pre-cleanse, today you should have discovered what your number is, or you should be working on discovering what your toxin, your digestive stimulator number is. And let me grab that, should have had this out. Hold on really briefly. Of course, your digestive stimulators are the actual pills that came with the colon cleansing kit. And what you're going to need to figure out is how many of these you're going to need to take to have 2 to 3 regular bowel movements a day. If you started off with 1 or 2, you didn't have a bowel movement at all today, then you're going to need to up your quantities, of course, to 3, 4, possibly 5. But if you did start having regular bowel movements, what you're looking for is 2 to 3 times a day, and then you're going to stick with that number. If that number is 2 or if that number is 10. And it's important for you to remember that number, because when you get later on the cleanse, you'll have to take one of these at night, like some of the people, or you'll have to take your number at night, like some of the people on day 4. Another important thing to remember is, especially if your intestines and things are backed up, then you do have the opportunity to take advantage of the colon cleaner, or excuse me, the Kalima itself, or the enema. In addition to that, you can take up to 10 of these, and some even say that even higher, but I'm sure according to increments, 10 would be pretty much the limit, because there's only 90 capsules in here and you're going to need them for 9 days. So if you have to get up to 10 of these in order to start getting your bowel movements regular, don't think you're the only one that's ever had to do that. It has happened. So tonight, of course, on the pre-cleanse day 1, you'll be taking one of these toxin absorber packets, which we'll do live here. And but for the people who are on day 4, they should have been taking this every 3 hours today. Now, the major thing that you need to know, especially about this, when to take these digestive stimulator tablets, is that you have to take them 2 hours after your last toxin absorber packet. So if you plan on taking this tonight, as you're supposed to take them before you go to bed, you're supposed to take your number before you go to bed, you need to do that 2 hours after this toxin absorber package. So just keep that in mind, because you may need to take this toxin absorber package now, just so that you have that 2 hour gap in between when you pop this digestive stimulator into your system. That also goes for people that are on day 4. Of course, generally how the instructions work is that it starts at around 7 a.m. and then every 3 hours you're taking another toxin absorber packet. So it'd be 7, then 10, then 1, then 4. And then what you want to do is you want to gauge when you're about to go to bed to try to get all, I believe, 5 packets in. But after that last packet, you're going to wait 2 more hours, and then you're going to take your digestive stimulator before you go to sleep. So those instructions apply for everyone. So let's go ahead and get this thing booted up. Tomorrow, of course, we're going to get into water, but I did bring out the distiller. I did distill some water today. It takes about 2.5 hours, something like that, to get out this much distilled water from this particular version, which is Mega Home's distiller. I believe this is the largest one that they have. But we'll be testing this out tomorrow. We'll be testing the ppm, and I have some other waters here, like some regular tap water and some bottled water, etc., so you can see the real difference between the two. But I just wanted to have that out here. And I'm also going to let you see inside of this thing after water is distilled, so you can just imagine how much, or you won't have to imagine, you'll be able to see it, just how much minerals and additives, or I wouldn't even say additives, but just different chemicals and things are in the water. And so you'll clearly see that if that goes in your body, it'll probably build up around your organs and build up around everything, just like it builds up around this container. And that's a very important fact. The water that we're drinking generally, because it's so high in different minerals and elements and different things that are inside of it, chemicals, etc., it leaves a residue that can't be really cleaned out of containers like this. And many people have seen it and had to use something like calcium lime removal. But you'll see it in your pool, you'll see it in your tub, but it's basically just from water. You'll see it on your sink, and it'll leave that white scum around everything, and then you can't rub it off with just normal, just elbow grease. So you have to see also that that goes into the body, and the same thing happens. It goes on the teeth. It goes in different places. So really making a move to put the distilled water in your system is a big move. Of course, this device only costs $200. And the most important thing also with distilled water, as we'll talk about tomorrow, is it's 0 parts per million. So it makes it perfect water to begin programming for those who want to get involved in or are already programming water and adding crystals or intentions and things to their water. So of course, you'll see tomorrow why you want to start off with some really clear water versus some of the stuff that you're getting out of the tap, or even some of the stuff that you're getting out of the bottles. So we're going to go ahead and boot this thing up. I think we're only going to need about 3 or 4 of these apples. And obviously you got your jar. It's a little loud. Do that as fast as possible. Obviously just a regular juicer. Let's see where that takes us. So obviously they gave you the jar for a reason, because it's actually what you'll be able to use to shake up your content. So instead of stirring it and then the stuff gets a little thick, you'll see that you'll have to actually drink it right away, which I'm about to do. And then of course in about 2 hours, when I head off to bed around 9 o'clock, I'm going to be taking the digestive stimulator capsule. So that's it, obviously, because you're getting to the top of your jar. You see that took about, I guess that was 4 apples. 4 apples. And you go ahead and add that pack of toxin absorber in there. Then, of course, you just close it really tightly and then give it a shake. And while we're shaking this up, let's see, I wanted to make sure I did cover everything. So again, today's nighttime show, because obviously we have a daytime show and a nighttime show, but I want to keep these things moderate, like within 15, 20 minutes, especially at night. That way, if anyone has things to do, they can do it, but they still don't feel like, if they get in on these calls, that they're going to be on these calls all day. I want to go ahead also and answer any questions that people have about the cleanse now. So I'll be looking in the chat box. So if you have something that, okay, so I see there's cheaper ways to do this. Of course, there's cheaper ways to do this. And actually, there have been links sourced, which were sourced in the chat box today. People have to really do a good job at reading everything that's already involved with the resistance and the cleanse. I will tell everyone that, because we've covered all bases. We actually have a Pearl tree set up that gives you an immense amount of information about how to go about doing various types of cleanse. There's not only humusine. Someone just, I see mentioned niacin. There's not only saltwater cleanse, seawater cleanse. There's different kinds of cleanses, and they vary, especially from the access that you may have to them, from the price ranges, some things even free. But the goal is to get all that information into one place, which we've been able to do, courtesy of another resistance member and myself, John Shore, collaborating on a couple things and building some stuff, and of course some partners that he had with him. So I'm sourcing that link also in the virtual cleanse chat box, just so that you have access to all those Pro trees. You can also share with your friends, and you get everything from urine therapy, which is very important. Even comments on breatharianism, information on breatharianism. Of course, removing mercury from your teeth. So different methods, even how to use clay, bentonite clay to remove different toxins. So we pretty much run the entire gamut on that. There's more information than I've even been able to cover myself entirely. So this is obviously done. What you don't want to do is let this sit for a while, because it actually starts to congeal and it gets like a gel. So if you let it sit for a while, you'll find this entire jar will be like solid. So you have to drink this right away. So let me go ahead. And you'll find it doesn't taste bad at all. In addition to that, it actually tastes like apple cider. And then on top of that, sometimes when you're on like day 4 of the fast, you'll savor this. You'll take it slow. Because it's basically your substance for the day. So that's going to pretty much be it for the day. Obviously, I don't have to spend all the time in just showing you how I can drink this. It doesn't look like we have any questions in the chat. Like I said, tomorrow we're going to be unfolding the next part of this, or day 2. Day 2 is definitely about water and well, mainly about water, because that's some of the stuff that you're going to need to have during the cleanse, obviously. And we want you to have the information about how to get a hold of the best water if you can as soon as possible. So I'm going to, again, take one more moment. Okay, so somebody's asking, can they drink kombucha on the cleanse? Things like kombucha and chia seeds can be drunk before the cleanse. Excuse me, in the pre-cleanse, especially when you're backing down your intake. But let me take a really brief look. Okay, yeah, generally something that promotes digestion and has enzymes, etc. It's going to promote your bowel movements more. So this is just a simple rule of thumb, and that's why I was talking about earlier today that when you're dealing with certain foods like blackberries, they constrict your bowels. So although they clear your blood, it constricts your bowels. So it's not whether this is just a really good product or not. Basically, this is a really good food or not. This is acai berries, and they're the highest goji berry, antioxidant, etc. It's about how that actual herb is acting on your body. So remember, that's the major thing here. It's not so much as just eat anything that's good for you. It's actually understanding if the elements that are in there are going to promote digestion or constrict digestion. So if you have some other stuff that you have questions about and you maybe we're not immediately accessible, you can easily Google it and see exactly how that will work on your digestive system, and then you'll know that if you can continue to use it through the cleanse. Now remember, the goal here is not to get full, meaning that when you drink, let's say it's the cucumber juice or you're drinking the celery juice, and because you're supplementing the apple juice, or you're on the juice fast, which we're all on now, that the idea is that is to sustain you from just from you getting malnourished, etc. But it's not to necessarily make you feel full. So if you're looking for something that's going to do that, just remember that's not really a part of the cleanse, and that's why. Well, you could make it a part of the cleanse. Let me clarify. You could also choose to eat while doing this cleanse, but how much you're going to be able to remove from your system and the walls of your intestines as far as mucoid plaque, and how well you'll be able to actually clean out your colon will be impaired. So there is a chart, mainly the foods, which are on page 26 and 27 of your internal cleansing guide or your colon cleansing guide. And then there is a chart that actually shows you, I believe it's on page 6, but it allows you to see what kind of foods that, what are the range of the foods that you'll intake for, it's basically a bad to worse. So if you're utilizing the juices in the beginning, then you're in good shape. And then if you're all the way into the meat and you're into what we just call the good cleanse, and this is one package of cleanser once every 30 days, then, that's of course how that'll work accordingly. Let me take a look one more time just to make sure that we got all the questions answered. Excuse me. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, it's starting to coagulate. All right, so that's going to be it for tonight. I want to say wholeness and definitely tell everyone good night. It's been an excellent day. I've been definitely running around doing a lot of stuff, mainly just getting all this stuff hooked up and getting things set up so that we can continue with this cleanse, because we got 9 days plus some time after that, because we go into the internal cleanse after that. And that will actually run in conjunction with some of the other stuff that we're doing. So we'll just mention, hey, I'm on tinctures right now. And that'll just, allow us to keep going with the cleanse for the rest of this month while still returning to our regular scheduled programs and some of the new stuff that we have coming up. I do also want to say to everyone that this is an amazing time. Like, one of the things about today was the reason why I wanted to start new today is I wanted to get people familiar with how to start things, how to set the right intentions and projections, etc., to have the right things in your house that you're going to be using even after this cleanse, mainly the diet, to get you familiar with how you can eat. Tomorrow we'll actually be mixing up some smoothies and things like that, just to show you how to eat lightly during the day while you're going into this cleanse. So that way you can actually return to some of those light diets when you finally get done with the cleanse. And then you'll see that you actually won't have to cleanse as often, because your body will run like a well-oiled machine. So again, I wanted to say wholeness and balanced vibration, and thank you for tuning in to Virtual Cleanse. Oh, I almost forgot. We will be adding information to this chat from time to time. And also, if you find you have any questions, maybe in the middle of the night, we may not be broadcasting live at that moment, stick your question in the box, and then we'll make sure that someone gets it to me, or that I'll probably see it myself, and we'll get that question answered for you. So just remember, every question can really be answered. It's just about whether you ask it or not. And that's it. Thank you. And that first day, which was today, you're supposed to take it down at least 3/4. So the things to avoid as far as foods are concerned are definitely fried foods, definitely foods with high sugars, artificial sugars, soft drinks, dairy, meats, those kind of very heavy foods you really want to incorporate out of the diet altogether. But especially during the cleanse, you want to not take in a lot of high salt, high sugar foods. So in order to get some food in your system, though, because some people may say, well, wait a minute, that's pretty much my whole diet, so what do I eat? I actually did put a list of foods to eat, and I'm going to read off on that list. But that list itself was on the post, everything you need to know for the virtual cleanse. And hold on real quick. Let me see if this is working today by chance. Yeah, okay, so the text thing is working again. So let me go ahead and drop that link in there now. Everything you need. Days, I just have to bring the rest of the switcher equipment here because it's what handles all the sounds and allows us to pipe sound in from other sources. So I'm going to be doing that in just a couple of days, as soon as I can get that stuff in the living room. But of course, today is again the second half of what we started today, which of course is the virtual cleanse. We have people that are on day one. I'm on day one also. It's of the pre-cleanse, and then we have also people who started the pre-cleanse already 3 days ago, so they're on day 4. So we're going to be giving instructions for both of those stages. Also, it's important now for us to see exactly what we need to be doing. Like I'm going to bring up some stuff that you're going to have to do while you're participating in the cleanse. One of those is definitely getting 6 to 8 glasses of water per day. So make sure that you're getting that in your system now. It's very important because you don't want your system to lock up with the toxins. In addition to that, of course, with the pre-cleanse, which is the first 3 days, you're going to be backing down your food intake and make sure our sound's coming through properly so that we can go ahead and get started. Okay, excellent. So I hear that sound is clear. And awesome. Okay, so of course we have the Skype chat running in conjunction with this now. And what that's for is if you want to ask some questions in real time, then I can get to those right away because I can see those notifications. In addition to that, we'll actually be incorporating the live verbal chat here within a couple